page 17. We're getting close. In a couple of days we finish the Masechet. We'll start on page 16b, 12 lines from the bottom of the page. For those who are not familiar, we start with the subject of the tithe. Our Torah mandates that certain produce in Israel may not be eaten until various tithes are designated. Truma, this is the portion the Torah demands to give to the Kohen, the priests. Ma'aser Rishon, first tithe, should be given to Levi. And then the Levi needs to give 1/10 of the tithe to a Kohen. It's called Trumat Ma'aser. And Ma'aser Sheni, the second tithe, to be taken to Yerushalayim by the owner and eaten there. Now, there are different rules when it's come to years. So in the third and a 6th year of every Shemitah, every sabbatical cycle, Ma'aser Ani, which is the indigent, the poor man's tithe, is substituted with Ma'aser Sheni and is distributed to the poor. Until all the applicable tithes had been designated, the produce is called tevel. So again, it's important to understand, you have a produce in Israel, you separate that produce for giving us a tithe. That produce in between period of time, it's called tevel. You cannot use it because it may not be eaten because it's designated for those important purposes such as Kohen, Levi, poor, etc. Even the Levi himself, who is recipient of the Ma'aser, may not eat the Ma'aser Rishon that he received until he designated the next step, which is the 10% of Trumat Ma'aser to the Kohen. Now, it's important to know that there is a line in the Torah, in the book of Vayikra, Leviticus chapter 22, verse 15. The Torah warns against eating tevel. For those who just walk in, tevel is the produce that is part of your estate in Israel, but it's designated to give it to the respected Kohen, Levi, or poor people, and therefore in a way it's not yours. It's a common question, I hope we have time to deal. How you treated, for example, tzedakah, charity fund. You have a pushke, right? So the moment you put something there, it's not yours anymore. But anyway, so how would happen if you need change or if you need some money? Can you substitute? It's all relate. So let's start with the text. The text said, "V'lo yechalelu et kodshei bnei Yisrael et asher harimu laHashem." Leviticus 22, verse 15, "They shall not profane the sacred foods of the children of Israel, that which they will separate from the Almighty." So because they use asher yarimu, which is the future tense, which they will separate, that's an indication that the present sanctity of these foods derive from the portions that will be separated from them. So the pasuk referred to tevel, as Rashi and the Gemara in Sanhedrin 83 said to us, that those produce was truma or other form of a ma'asrot of tithe has not yet been taken. Now, the sugya here, we start with page Tedzayin Amud Bet 16b, 12 lines from the bottom of the page, from the Mishnah, Achal tevel u'ma'aser rishon. If one ate that tevel, that designated produce that grown in Israel and has a sacred, the tithing stage, but not been yet tithed, or ma'aser rishon, the first tithe, so amarav. Achal tevel shel ma'aser ani. So again, you have the tvu'ah, you have the crop, can be fruits, can be vegetables that grown up by you. You didn't have a hafrasha, you didn't have the tightening of tevel. The same applies to achal tevel shel ma'aser ani, which is if one ate the tevel of the produce whose tithes would be separate except for that indigent person's tithe, loke, so he deserved to receive Malkot, to receive lashes. So why? Because he's in violation of the law of eating tevel. So we are basically know that Truma Gdola or Trumat Maaser, they carry a special sanctity because it's prohibited to Zarim, to those who are not Kohanim. And the way that it expresses, it's whoever eats it have a heavenly mitabedei shamayim, heavenly punishment. Also, you cannot eat it in tum'ah, in a state of ritual impurity. So that's the chidush here, because maaser ani, the indigent person's tithe, doesn't carry that sanctity, and people who are not priests can eat it, and can eat it anywhere, even not in a state of purity. So you may think that those produce that did not tighten, it's not an issue, and that's the chidush here. The Meiri derived in Hilchot Ma'achalot Asurot chapter 10 hold that in this type of situation that someone ate some tevel that was designated for the poor person's tithe, the person received only Malkot, but the Yerushalmi said that no, it's Chayav Mita. You see also in the Ran. You have more on that on the Minchat Chinuch, Reish Pei Dalet. Keman. So this important word of Rav, follow whom? So they said, כי הייתנא דתניא, אמר רבי יוסי, לא יהיה חייב אלא על התבל שלא הורם ממנו כל עיקר. You may think that one is not liable for eating tevel, except for eating tevel from which no tithe have been separated ever. So the understanding is, if you zoom in the pasuk, what exactly the pasuk mean when they use the term לא תוכל לאכול בשעריך. הורם ממנו תרומה גדולה ולא הורם ממנו מעשר ראשון. If in one hand they did tithing, but not yet the first one. Or מעשר ראשון ולא מעשר שני, again, the first in the stage, the first tithe, but not the second one. ואפילו מעשר עני, even you do the whole process, but the only thing that's missing is the maaser, the tithe, which is doesn't carry any sanctity whatsoever, and it's designated for the indigent. Talmud lomar lo tuchal lechol bisharecha minayin. Talmud lomar. So how do you know that they receive malkot? Because the Torah said clearly, you may not eat within you gate the maaser of your grain, your wine, and your oil. So you derive from that, because the Torah said when it's come to the poor person tithe, ve'achlu visharecha vesaveu. So they use the word bisharecha, they shall eat in your gates and feel satisfied. So the Torah use of the expression within your gates in both contexts. So that's basically gzera shava, is a verbal juxtaposition that we derive to compare the two contexts. Mal lehalan, the same way as the second pasuk applies to maaser ani, the poor person's tithe. Afkan maaser ani, ve'amar rachmana lo tuchal. So that's something we're going to learn in the Mishnah, Mitzvah, page 17. That gzera, that from this pasuk we derive another isur, another prohibition. It's in a way it's like it's written twice bisharecha. One, they're prohibited to eat second tithe outside of Yerushalayim, and second one is to prohibited eating tevel that yet was not tithe for the poor was taken. That's the way the Ritva explained based on Rashi. Meaning, if you have a tevel that you did not tighten, even only maaser ani, you're in violation of lav and receive malkot. Amar Rav Yosef ketanai. So Rav Yosef said This matter is a matter of dispute between the Tanaim, whether the tevel of Maaser Ani is by the Torah prohibited, as we learn in the following Mishnah. And that Mishnah is the Tractate Makkot, chapter 4, Mishnah number 3. Da mai, dmai, da mai. This is what? You have a crop that came from Amaretz for someone who's ignorant, and therefore we are not sure if he tightened his produce or not. And because it's a fact, because it's uncertain, the sages impose a special enactment that you need to tighten those produce, even as a potential that they did it. That's a Mishnah in Tractate Sotah, page 48. They describe that the high priest Yochanan Kohen Gadol, he sent out to Babylon, for the whole Israel, that because he noticed so many people who are not educated, they did not tighten their produce, and excluding Truma Gdola. So they figure out the damai, if we're not sure if it's tightened or not, and that's the way Rabbeinu Ovadia Bartenu and the Rambam explain. So basically, when it's come to tightening, when you're tightening the mai, something that's not clear, you do not have to do Truma Gdola, but you do have to have the others. That's the concept when you give it to Levi, המוציא מחברו עליו הראיה. רבי אליעזר אומר, אין צריך לקרוא את השם על מעשר עני של דמאי, which means when in order to allow the fruit to be eaten, you need to separate that titan by dividing them from other produce, and you do not need physically to tighten. You can give a title to that produce. This in this size, for example, this is in the north part of the fruits, or the south, or any side that you choose. It's designated one for the tithe. So when it's come to damai, dmai, or Beliezer hold, you don't need to have maaser ani, the poor person's tithe, and even you don't have, Rashi said, even to give a name for that. Ein tzarich likrot את השם על maaser ani shel dmai. Right? One does not need to designate even by name maaser ani of damai. והחכמים אומרים, the sages disputed and they hold. 17, קורא את השם ואינו צריך להפריש. So the way the sages explain to us that when it's come to other titan, מעשר ראשון, מעשר שני, it's not enough to have קריאת השם. You need to have physically the הפרשה. For example, the second tithe, you need to bring it to Yerushalayim and eat it there. Since Maaser Ani, you can eat it everywhere, anywhere, to anyone, the only mitzvah there is to give it to the poor, so you don't need to have a tithe. So, because of the notion of Mutzi Mechavro Olav Haraya, furthermore, the whole mitzvah of Trumot u'Maasrot, they carries two obligations. One is the idea that you separate from the other produce, and you call it truma, or you call it maaser. The second one is the giving that you take from, like, the Kohanim or Leviim or the poor people, and give it to the owner. So that's basically change the status of the produce. They are tevel, and that basically take and change from the tevel. As long as they did not take the Trumot u'Maasrot, they considering tevel. So if you have a prodemai, if you have a produce that in damai, that you're not sure about it, you have to bring them the Trumot u'Maasrot in order to allow them to be eaten. And we basically go lechumra. מה אליו באקא מפליגי, דמר סבר the sages hold, ודאי טוב לו, that there is a definite obligation to separate maaser ani, renders the produce prohibited to eat as tevel. It follows then that the possible maaser ani obligation that resides in demai renders the tameh possible tevel, which cannot be eaten until the maaser ani has been designated. However, Rabbi Eliezer Umar Savar Vadai eno tov lo. For sure, the definite obligation to separate maaser ani does not render the produce prohibited to eat tevel, but create only a monetary obligation to separate the tithe for the poor and give it to them. So therefore, the disputation among the Tanaim applies to the produce that would not tighten the maaser ani, the indigent tithe, if there is part of the isur tevel. According to the sages it is, according to Rabbi Eliezer not. So Abaye challenged the view of Rav Yosef. Amar le Abaye, Ihache, if you tell me that that's basically the disputation, ad demiflegei bisfeiko, instead of then they argue in the situation that maaser ani is possible, that whether maaser ani must be designated in the Mai or not, liflegu bevadai. If you have a produce that it's clearly, it wasn't a separate for maaser ani, if the one who ate it deserve malkot or not, because according to your view, that's the essence of the machloket, of the disputation. So why the Mishnah used the point of machloket when it's come to demai, and not something that is clear, vadai? So Abaye explained the disputation between Rabbi Eliezer and Chachamim differently. Ela de kule alma, everyone, both Rabbi Eliezer and the sages agreed, vadai tov lo, that a definite maaser ani obligation renders the produce tevel. Vehacha, when it's come to maaser ani that comes out of demai, behaka miflegei, that's the disputation. Mar savar Rabbi Eliezer hol lo nechshedu amei haaretz al maaser ani shel demai. You have it in the Gemara in Nedarim, page 84b. The same language, just missing the word shel demai. That the sages hold that unlearned people are not suspect regarding maaser ani of demai, for they did not indeed separate maaser ani from their produce, and demai therefore poses no question of unfulfilled maaser ani obligation, although these very same common people are lax when it comes to separate maaser rishon and maaser sheni. They are not lax when it's come to maaser ani. Why? There is a reason for that. Why? Kivan demamunahu afrushei mafrish. Because the maaser ani is only the money of the poor, but may be eaten by anyone, which is unlearned people, certainly separated it from their produce in order to remove that aspect of a tevel restriction and then keep it for themselves. V'Rabbanan savrei kevan detricha lemilta lo mafrish. Said that since it's such a hard time, troublesome for them to do all this afrasha, they don't bother to do that. So the Achronim asked the Maharit, and others said, well, what type of bothersome? What troublesome for them? Maaser ani. Call it Kriya Hashem Be'alma, and that's it. So common Maharit said that they think because they are Me'aretz that it's involved with a lot of details. The Chazon Ish in his explanation on the Tractate Makkot, chapter 9, Mishnah 3, he said that it's easy for them to forget about these things and not to be occupied with this. Just the psychology of those people. So the Mishnah asks, Kama yochal min tevel, how much he must eat from the tevel that he is chayav? Rabbi Shimon omer kol shu. Rabbi Shimon said any amount. Amar Rav Bibi, Amar Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish, machloket. Rabbi Shimon the sages disputed bechita. One who eats a wheat kernel or of tevel. Rabbi Shimon asserts that he is liable to Malkot even though he ate less than a kezait, because he assigned to kernel the significance of a bria. The sages, however, apply to normal kezait minimum even in this case. Aval bekemach, but when it's come to flour, that is tevel, that doesn't have the chashivut of bria, divrei hakol, everyone said that he is not receiving malkot, only kezait. Even according to Rabbi Shimon, only the level of kezait, which is an olive bark, that's the size that one can receive malkot, otherwise than not. ורבי ירמיה אמר רבי שמעון בן לקיש כמחלוקת בזו, כך מחלוקת בזו. The same way as you have a disputation between Rabbi Shimon and the sages regard to the wheat kernel, so the same dispute with one eat a minimum amount of tevel, flours. And the reasoning of Rabbi Shimon is not bria. So the Ritva and other Meforshim argue if that's halakha l'Moshe Sinai, how you measure it. Anyway, נען אמר להם רבי שמעון, אי אתם יודעים לי באוכל למעלה כלשהו שחייב, אמר לו, מפני שהיא כבריאתה. So if someone eats ant, so even כבריאתה, because the form of it was created, it's a bria whose creature in the original state. So he said, אמר להן, אף חיטה אחת כבריאתה, חיטה אין קמח לא. You don't receive Malkot. That's basically the view of Rabbi Bibi, not Rabbi Yirmiyah. So he said, לדבריהן כאמר לו, לדידי אפילו קמח נמל, לדידחו עוד ולמיית, דחיטה אחת כבריאתה. Basically the whole that even one chita, a single kernel, is the form on which it was created. V'Rabbanan, what's the rationale of the sages that he not receive Malkot even if someone eat chita achat shel tevel, that is basically bria, the same as someone who eat 8 ant, says briat neshama chashuva, chita lo chashuva. You have to differentiate between something that have the legal significance of bria, applies only to animal lives, versus when it's come to chita, the produce doesn't care neshama, doesn't care chashivut, because it's no ruach haim. So therefore, you only receive malkut b'shiur kezait. תנא כבתי רבי ירמיה, רבי שמעון אומר כל שהוא למכות, לא אמרו kezait על עניין קורבן. The whole idea of kezait applies to the chatat offering for unintentionally eating a food prohibited on pain of karet. So in Yoreh De'ah, in Siman Kuf, he said that bria shlema nemala, it's not no batel. So the Taz explained in Sif Katan Aleph, כיוון שעל בריאה חייב מלכות, אף שהיא פחותה מכזית, even is the less than size of כזית, one receive מלכות, so even דבר מיעוט. So הדפרי מגדים בשער התערובת, חלק ג' פרק ב', ובמשבצי זהב, סימן קוף, בסדר, לפי זה איסור ברבנן שהוא בריאה, כמאן דן לוקים עליו ולא חשיבות מלא בטלו. בדשך, in פי וו, explained that ביצת נבלה, even that is only rabbinic, but it's not betela in other beitzim. So the whole idea he tried to say that because the Torah make a chashivut, that's the story. But Tosfot Rabbi Akiva Iger have a malach, what it's that mean bria when it's come to Rabbi Shimon. And obviously we have here Ritva. Okay. Mishnah Kedosha continues. We have a list of prohibition that one receive malkot if he violated them. האוכל ביקורים עד שלא קרא עליהם. So every year when there's a time of the Beit HaMikdash, the Holy Temple, so if it's one of the 7 species that grow in Eretz Israel, a person needs to go to the Beit HaMikdash and need to recite special sentences from the book of Dvarim, chapter 26. Then he put the first fruits before the altar, and transferred to the Kohanim who was in charge for that shift, and they eat it in with the respected household, and that's Mishnah in the Tractate Bikurim, chapter 3. So anyone who eats from the first fruits, from the Bikurim, even if he's a Kohen, before saying those psukim, those lines, he is in violation of the biblical prohibition to receive Malkot. So, האוכל ביקורים, עד שלא קרא להם, one who eat the first fruit before the owner recites over them the psukim the Torah required. קודשי קודשים חוץ לקלעים, if someone eat the sacred קודשי קודשים outside of the temple courtyard, so the offering divided to two parts. One is called light kodashim, kodashim kalim, burn offering, sin offering, guilt offering. They have also, that's kodshei kodashim, I'm sorry. Kodashim kalim, light kodashim, it's a peace offering, thanksgiving offering, firstborn offering. So, so when it's come to kodshei kodashim, burn offering is totally burned on the altar. Sin offering and guilt offering, only the imur, that part is on the altar. The meat, eating by the mer kohanim. So kohenets outside of the temple courtyard cannot eat from that offering, and if he ate, he's to receive malkot. kodashim kalim u'maaser sheni chutz lachoma. For example, peace offering or thanksgiving offering, there is a certain location. So if it's outside of the wall, so he's in violation, receive malkot. When it's come to korban pesach, the paschal offering, the paschal lamb, so the Mishnah said, hashover et ha'etzem ba'pesach, if one breaks a bone of a pesach offering that is tahor, hatahor, harei ze lo ke-40, the Torah said in the book of Shemot, chapter 12, verse 46, ve'etzem lo tishberu, you should not break the bone of the offering. So, et ha'etzem meaning specific one. Anyway, today is a fasting day because part of that we said from the Pnei Yoshua, and according to the Luach Davar Beito, Rabbi Genut said that today is the time that the Pnei Yoshua went to a great miracle, and as a result he commit himself that if he is out of trouble, he writes, and he wrote the Pnei Yoshua. Anyway, so he explained that. So השובר את העצם בפסח הטהור הרי זה לוקח 40, אבל המותיר בטהור והשובר בטמא אינו לוקח 40. So the chinuch in mitzvah tetzayin, mitzvah number 16, explain, just reading a little bit from the chinuch, שלא לשבור עצם מכל עצמות הפסח. משורשי המצווה, the root of this mitzvah, לזכור ניסי מצרים, to remember the miracle that happened to our ancestors in Egypt. שאין כבוד לבני מלכים ויועצי ארץ לגדר העצמות ולשברם ולכלבים. It's inappropriate, it's very incongruous to us, children of king, to do such a thing, to break the bonds and give it to the dogs. ולא יאות לעשות ככה כי אם לעניי העם ערבים. That's proper for the indigent, not the children of king. על כן בתחילת בואנו להיות סגולת כל העמים, מלאכת כהנים וגוי קדוש, ובכל שנה ושנה באותו הזמן ראוי לנו לעשות מעשים המראים בנו מעלה גדולה שלנו באותו שעה, ומתוך המעשה והדמיון שאנו קובעים נקבע לנו שזה דבר לעולם. So in short, we should be a paragon, a good role model, and not behave like the pauper, like the indigent. So he said, don't you think כל לזיכרון אותו הנס. Da. Listen to the language. Let me read it first in Hebrew and then try to explain because it's beautiful in Hebrew. Da כי האדם נפעל כפי פעולותיו וליבו וכל מחשבותיו תמיד אחר מעשיו שהוא עושה בהם עם טוב ועם רע. So a person just follow his heart. And whatever action is basically follow what the person's heart both ways. ואפילו רשע גמור בלבו וכל ארץ מחשבותיו בו רק רע כל היום, אם ירא רוחו וישים בשירותו ויעסקו בתמודה בתורה ומצוות, אפילו שלא לשם שמיים, מיד נתן לטוב. בכוח מסע ומית היצר רשע. Even when a person is not good, but he subjugate his evil inclination to do Torah and mitzvot, even not for the sake of heaven, it can have a point of turn around by all means. כי אחרי הפעולות הם שמשיכים ללוות. As the רבנו בכי נחובת הלוות explained too, that after the actions, the hearts follows. ואפילו אם יהיה צדיק גמור וללוות ישר ותמים חפץ בתורה ומצוות, even as a righteous person, אם אולי יעסק תמים דברים של דופי, כאילו תאמר דרך משל שכחו המלך ומינה ובאמנות רעה, באמת עם כל עסקות תמיד כל היום באותה אומנות, ישוב בזמן המזמין ומסגל ליבו להיות רשע גמור. Because a person follow his heart, and therefore the sages said here in מסכת מכות, we said it in the close to the end, but רץ המקום לזכות ישראל לפיכך נברא להם תורה ומצוות. כדי להדפיס בהן כל מחשבותינו, להיות בהן כל עסקנו, להטיב לנו באחריתנו, כי מתוך הפעולות הטובות אנחנו יכולים להיות טובים וזוכים לחיי עד. ורמזו זיכרונה לברכה על זה באומרם, בנחוד, דף י"ג עמוד ב', כל מי שיש לו מזוזה בפתחו וציצית בבגדו ותפילין בראשו, מובטח לו, שוב לא יחטא, לפי שלו מצוות תמידיות ומפעל בהם תמיד. There is a daily מצוות, if a person does them, eventually his heart go in the right way. So he basically explained, לכן אתה ראה גם ראה ממלכתך ועסקיך, כי אחריהם תימשך ואתה לא תמשכם. So you should examine your job too, if that's proper for what really drag you. ואל יבטחך לצור לומר, היות ליבי שמם ותמים אמונת אלוהים, מה ההפסד כי יתענג לפעמים בתענוגי אנשים לשבת בשווקים ברחובות, לרוצת עם הלצים בדברי חרצות, וכיוצא באלה הדברים שאין מביאים עליהם האשמות וחטאות. הלא גם לי לבב כמוהם קטני אהבה ממתניהם, עד אני ישמר פניהם מפני תלחם בירשתם. So in short, he tried to tell us, based on this beautiful idea of שובר עצם, that the person should always remember who we are, what we are, and where we're coming from, and more. I'm reading from my brother-in-law book, Daf al Daf, Rabbi David Avraham Mandelbaum, beautiful write-up, and obviously I just gave you the abbreviation, what he called the chinuch, and elaborates. Another issue that you have machloket tanaim, if one receive Malkot or not, hanotel em al abanim. As we learn, if you remember, we learned it on page 16, that they have the mitzvah of shiloh haken, so one who hold a bird while she is on her young. Rabbi Yehuda אומר לו, כן, לא תיקח em al abanim, ואינו משלח. But he doesn't have the obligation to release the mother. אנחנו אומרים משלח, ואינו לו כן. זה הכלל, כל מצוות לא תעשה שיש בה כל מעשה, חייבים עליה. Any positive commandment, any prohibition that has, and it is positive commandments, violation is remedies by fulfilling a positive commandment, is not liable to Malkot for violating it. Rather, he performed the positive commandment and thereby avoid the receiving Malkot, and we learn it in the previous daf, and we talk about it at length. You see over there, Rashi דיבור, מתחיל זה הכלל. אמר רבא בר חנא אמר רבי יוחנן, זו דברי רבי עקיבא סתימתא. Meaning the word about Bikurim, the follower of the view of Rabbi Akiva. Because Rabbi, the one who put together the Mishnah, usually put it in that way, so without spelling it out. Stimta, אבל חכמים אומרים, but the sages hold, dispute it and hold. When it's come to bringing Bikurim, the first rule, hanacha מעכבת בהם. Their placement before the altar is essential to them. קריאה אין מעכבת בהם. The recitation of the verse is not essential for them. So, if one ate the bikurim before putting in the altar, he's not receiving Malkot according to this view. Rabbi Akiva hold the other way around. If he ate before he read the Hafashah, he received Malkot. If he ate before putting it in the altar, he's not. ולמה דזו דבר רבי שמעון סתימתא, הקמש מלן דרבי עקיבא כרבי שמעון סבירה לי. מן רבי שמעון, נתניה, ותרומת ידך אלו ביקורים. אומר רבי שמעון, מה בא זה למדנו? אם לא אוכלנו חוץ לחומה, הקל וחום מעשר, הקל. ומה מעשר הקל אוכלנו חוץ לחומה, לא כביקורים לא כל שכן. הלא בא כתוב, אלא לאוכל מביקורים, עד שלא קרא להם, לא כי. ונדבותיך, זאת תודה ושלמים. That usually you bring it as a voluntarily act. נדבותיך. אומר רבי שמעון, Shimon said, מה בזה למדנו? What the listing of the תודה and שלמים, peace offering, come to teach us? אם לא אוכלן חוץ לחומה, if the idea is to eat it outside of the wall, you don't need to have a clear statement, איסור מפורש. Why? קל וחומר ממעשר, הלא כתיב בה לאוכל בתודה ובשלמים לפני זריקה שהוא לוקה. הלא בא כתוב אלא באוכל בתודה ובשלמים לפני זריקה שהוא לוקה. Because if it's not תודה ובשלמים, you go to the idea of eating it before זריקה, ובכורות זה הבכור. When it's come to the korban of the firstborn in a pasuk, that's apply. The Torah said that any bechor egel or keves or gdi, you have to give to the kohen, and he bring it to on the altar, and he receive their meat. That's the Shmot Yud Gimel Bet and Bamidbar Yud Chet Yud Zayin. אומר רבי שמעון, מה בזה למדנו? אם לא אוכלן חוץ לחומה קל וחומר מעשר, זה סיים מהלך, ואם לפני זריקה קל וחומר בתודה ובשלמים, אבל הבא כתוב אלא לא אוכל מן הבכור, ואפילו לאחר זריקה שהוא לוקה. Obviously. ברכה וצונך זו חטאת ואשם. אומר רבי שמעון, מה בזה למדנו? אם לא אוכלן חוץ לחומה קל וחומר מעשר, אם לפני זריקה קל וחומר בתודה ושלמים, אם לאחר זריקה קל וחומר מבכור, אבל הבא כתוב אלא לא אוכל, האוכל מחטאת ואשם, אפילו לאחר זריקה, חוץ לקטעים שהוא לוקה, even if he was Kohen. לדרך, when it's mentioned the word vow offering, it applies to a burn offering. זו עולה. So nether is a person accept upon himself the korban. עולה, because of nether, that's the way the Ritva explained לדרך. That's also more in Yuma 36. Anyway, אמר רבי שמעון, מה בזה למדנו? אם לא אוכלן חוץ לחומה, קל וחומר מעשר, אם לפני זריקה, קל וחומר בתודה ושלמים, אם לאחר זריקה, קל וחומר מבכור, אם חוץ לקלעים, קל וחומר מחטאת ואשם. הלא בא כתוב, 17b, אלא לאוכל מן העולה לאחר זריקה אפילו בפנים. One who eats, even a kohen who eats from the עולה, even after the throwing of his blood, and even within the curtains, שהוא לוקה. אמר רבא דילי דאי מקי רבי שמעון תליד, ואילו לא תליד, ואבל גבדי תופירך. מהי חומרא דביקורים מעשר שכן אסורים לזרים? אדרבה, מעשר שני חמור שכן אסור לאונן. ומהי חומרא דתודה ושלמים מעשר שכן טעונים מתן דמים האמורים לגבי מזבח, ואמורים לגבי מזבח. אדרבה, מעשר חמור שכן טעונים כסף צורה. ומהי חומרא דבכור מתודה ושלמים שכן קדושתו מרחם? אדרבה, תודה ושלמים חמורים שכן טעונים סמיכה ונסכים ותנופת חזה ושוק. ומהי חומרא דחטאת ואשם מבכור שכן קודשי קודשים? אדרבה, בכור חמור שכן קדושתו מרחם. ומהי חומרא דעולם מחטאת ואשם שכן כליל? אדרבה, חטאת ואשם חמירי שכן מחפרי. וכולהו חמירי מעולה דאית בו שתי אכילות, אלא מה דלידאי מקי רבי שמעון, דילמה דסבירא לדידי, מסרס ללקרא ודריש לי. So, Rashi here said something very interesting. Rashi said, you see 3 lines from the top of the page, דלידאי מקי רבי שמעון תליד, כל שאימו יולדת תבקש רחמים יהי רצון שיהיה כרבי שמעון. So, רבי יצחק אריה ארליך שליטה, וקונטרס, כל ציונים יקרים לל"ג בעומר. So, he hold that that's the source of the Bar Yochai song. Bar Yochai song, we have the song we sing על ל"ג בעומר, נעשה אדם נאמר בעבורך. Which means, here, נעשה אדם, שיהיו ילדים כמו רבי שמעון, נעשה אדם נאמר בעבורך. בר יוחאי אשרי יולדתך. See several places like that. The secret of the understanding. So here, רבי שמעון סירס הקרב ודורשו. I'd like to conclude with the Gaon of Brashov. It's a book called שאלות ותשובות הפרסקתא דעניה. There's a special contrast on תגלחת הקטנים. He said, here is the מקור ומנהג שהם הולכים התינוק לקברו של רבי שמעון במירון, ושם עושים לו חלקה או upsharing, תגלחת, ליבי מפייס, כי כיוון דאמר הכא רבא, שכל אם תתפלל יהי רצון שיהיה בנה כמו רבי שמעון, לכן מעלים אותו לקברו של רבי שמעון, שתקבל תפילותיה שיהיה בנה כמו רבי שמעון.